Welcome to the Beyond View podcast.
We are now reviewing Super Bowl commercials.
Her legs will need to be amputated.
So I chose this commercial as my win instead of my flop. Couple of reasons. Obviously, I think Super Bowl commercials often go the funny route, which is great because you have a very funny one we're going to react to next. But this one, I think, surprised me because it caught me off guard. I was still in the room, but back in the kitchen because I had to get my 5,000 calories in for the day, so I was making dinner round 2, and turned to watch it because I think the phone call bit caught me right out of the gate. And then the whole commercial was interruption of the trend I had been seeing. So I think the exact words I used after the commercial was over was like, oh, thanks, Toyota. Now I'm just having to hold back tears while I continue to make my food and get ready for the rest of the game. So it was a bit of a shock, but I think, again, as we've talked about with John and a couple other guests, brands have to know how to tell a story well. And Toyota didn't once mention their cars. They didn't once mention the features of them or how well they perform or the value of them. But it kind of tied in the general story of the bigger picture of what they're trying to get people to imagine, which I think a lot of their commercials tackle of we think anything's possible, have big dreams, our cars are part of what can get you there. So they're tying the car in with a bigger purpose instead of just, oh, it has good mileage, but instead of, or more of, our car can get you there and our car can be a part of that journey. So.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it never hurts to have that real emotional tie to it, right? So they did a good job there. It's very heartwarming and touching, and it's awesome that Toyota is a sponsor of the Olympics, the USA team, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. So I know Toyota does a lot of manufacturing in the U.S., but I mean, they're a Japanese company, right? So that was the part that kind of threw me off a little bit, I think. But
fair enough.
But yeah, it was great and, you know, awesome from what is it? Is it Jessica Long?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. I mean, amazing what she's overcome and been able to do. And I didn't know her story before that. And so kudos to Toyota to helping broadcast that and put that out there. So really cool to see those kind of things. I mean, it's really impressive, again, as a father of 2 young children, you know, finding examples of being able to show them of like, look at the possibilities, what you can do when you put your mind to something. Right. I remember that commercial as well, being in that same kind of spot of like, we're kind of all doing our thing, like munching on food, conversating, whatever. And then all of a sudden it just kind of like everyone was staring quietly at the screen watching it, and the kids were kind of running around, and you know, so it was definitely something that kind of made you sit and stop for a second. And that's probably what you want to do when you're airing a commercial when there's a million other things going on for Super Bowl. So yeah, so good on them.
Yeah. Well done, Toyota.
Yes.
It's just flawless, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I literally couldn't imagine a more beautiful vessel for Alexa to be inside. Alexa, how many tablespoons are in a cup?
There are 16 tablespoons in a cup.
Babe, food just got here. Why you cooking? Who's that?
Alexa, turn on the sprinklers.
Honey, I already ran the sprinklers. Things are getting way too wet around here.
Alexa, dim the lights.
Alexa, lights up! Alexa, lights up!
Add bath oils to my shopping list.
Alexa, no, don't do that.
Read my audiobook.
I was in his hands. I was being changed.
Yeah.
Realized that I was also kissing him.
Honey, other people have to use the bathroom around here too.
All right, so my big win for Super Bowl commercials was the Amazon Alexa with Michael B. Jordan. Man, I just honestly couldn't stop laughing at it. I mean, you know, to be honest with you, this is the first thing I said is just, and I'll say this anytime I see him on screen is how beautiful that man is. Sure. And I think I said that to my friends and family that we were watching the game with. So I feel like I would probably like jump in and be a part of that same scenario where, you know, in the commercial, the husband obviously is, you know, kind of a little bit jealous and, you know, making it more of a comedic routine. But I feel like I would also want to have a bath with Michael B. Jordan. Okay. So I might be ordering some bath salts with him too.
Okay, sure.
So like, you know, so it might be a little bit different for me, but yeah, that is funny. And I know my wife is also a big fan of his. So I just thought they did a really, really good job with it. And when you add in the blue spinning wheel into his eyes, I mean, it just makes it even more majestic. So really well done. I think they did a good job, and obviously love Michael B. Jordan. So
right.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree. Obviously the romantic music in the background and her interactions, but obviously the husband does a great job of they're like kind of towing the line between serious and they have these fun little moments where you know she's engaged, and then the husband is just doing this great job of making it relatable to men who are watching the commercial. Like, you're right. What is he doing here? I don't look like him, but wow, that's a good looking man. And maybe everybody can get on board with Michael B. Jordan Alexa. So yeah, obviously, awesome example of how humor is used well, and then just the creativity of the situations they put him in. I think they could have gotten bland, but did a great job. Like the lights part was so creative. And of course, if you're gonna have Michael B. Jordan, you got to find a way to get him shirtless.
Of course, get him shirtless and wet, right? So and it's kind of one of those things like, you know, you win, Alexa. Like if you look like Michael B. Jordan, then you know you win with my wife. It's like
spec models coming out as early as 2022.
Yeah, exactly. So nice job.
Yep, another hats off to Alexa.
Don't think you're an investor? We make investments morning, noon, and wait, what time is it exactly? We make short-term investments, long-term investments. We diversify our interests, realize our gains and losses, and try to keep the big picture in mind. You don't need to become an investor. You were born one. Robin.
So this one was my flop of the Super Bowl. Probably as many people can imagine why. I am not a user of Robinhood, so it's not like it personally offended me, but sounded a little tone deaf based on the news cycle right now and what they have done within the Reddit GameStop sphere and intentionally blocking people from being investors on their platform. So I think, they've probably been working on this obviously before all this happened and put a lot of money into it. And so it's probably a little bit of a conversation of, okay, should we just get it out there? And we know what this sounds like. I think they're smart enough to know the message and how ironic it sounds right now. But the fact that we're talking about it maybe is good marketing for them, but obviously it comes off as a little tone deaf in light of what they're dealing with right now. And I mean, to put it simply, we're not all investors all the time with Robinhood when they're controlling certain things. So doesn't quite play into, the message doesn't play into how the behaviors and actions of the brand right now.
Yeah, and I think that really gets to a lot of things we talk about on our podcast and with our guests and things is the authenticity, right? And so they kind of did fall short of that. I just honestly didn't really understand it from an aspect of like, sure, just everyday people kind of doing their normal thing and kind of we're all investors or we're all born investors kind of thing. I don't think anyone feels that way, and so maybe they're trying to get that across, but just the random clips of people just kind of doing everyday life as they're kind of speaking over this commercial, just for me, really I didn't understand the connection as well. Again, I'm not a user of Robinhood. I'm not a huge investor at this point in my life, but it really didn't, see the connection. So maybe I'm missing something, but I think maybe they're trying to get to people more like me. And so that probably means they missed the mark. So
even me.
Because anyone that's probably a serious investor knows about the story that you just explained, right? Of the whole thing that went on with Reddit and the whole thing with GameStop. So, they're probably not switching. They're probably looking for the people that don't necessarily understand. And so that connection was lost to me. So not a big fan.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Even just if the news cycle isn't where it was at with them right now, there wasn't much of a connection. Sure, they showed the dad taking care of the baby and maybe a young college student, but there wasn't much of a connection to where it gets you. It was just kind of like, oh, we just want to help you be an investor, but maybe didn't tie it in well with like the Toyota vision of how our specific app and platform is going to help you to where you want to get.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably was that disconnect of more just, oh, like invest with us. And yeah, sure, there might be some downs with the girl crying, but it didn't really connect to the overall vision. It was just more of like a buckshot where they're trying to hit as many people at once. And yeah, maybe they missed the mark with that.
Yeah, I say they did. Boo on you, Robin Hood. No good.
No way.
It's like milk made for humans. It's like milk but made for humans. Wow, wow, no cow. No, no, no. Wow, wow, no cow. No, no, no. Wow, wow.
Okay, and I just don't get it. The loser commercial for me is Oatly. First I'll say, kudos to the CEO for doing that and putting himself out there. Nothing against him necessarily. Maybe it's me. Maybe because I don't drink oat milk. Maybe I don't really understand the brand, but I had never really heard of Oatly before. So all of a sudden I see this strange man, I don't know who is, singing this weird song about, oat milk. Again, lost connection. Didn't really see anything there. Maybe there's some things I don't understand about standing in the middle of a wheat field, maybe with the oats thing, but I just like, there's a lot of different connections there that I just feel like, we do a lot of things with cows in general, as far as just, I don't know if they're trying to go against normal milk, cow milk. Is that's normal?
What even
is human milk normal? I don't know. Because it is strange, that we do drink milk from an animal that's, roughly probably 300 to 500 pounds, I would say. A little bit different size from humans. I always hear that kind of argument. But again, I don't know if oat milk is that much better and all the things with oat milk. So maybe it lost connection with me. But the song, playing a keyboard in the middle of a wheat field, just didn't get it.
Yeah, I obviously was chuckling because it is funny and kind of like uncomfortably funny of the guy. Not a bad singer, honestly.
Yeah, he's better than I am.
Right. And I would say the one thing that does stick out as far as I think they won would probably be the budget. This is probably one of the more affordable commercials we saw. So obviously,
how long was it? 30 seconds?
Well, that, and I mean, they probably, just the production value. That's
true.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Just a couple of shots. Jared might disagree with how hard that might be to put together, but it seems like one of the simpler ones. I think to your point, there was a line at the beginning. I'd have to rewatch it to see what he said, but it was something along the lines of oat milk being good for, like, better for humans, or being human milk. Some kind of connection there about maybe people who don't know or aren't a part of this conversation. Something like that being hashed out more or presented, because it was just kind of in passing of, okay, is this better for humans? What kind of evidence do you have for that? And obviously they're going for the weird, quirky. I think of a Squatty Potty. Have you ever seen those commercials of the unicorn pooping ice cream?
Yeah.
And the guy eats it. They nailed the weird, quirky, bizarre commercial. Obviously theirs was a little longer, but their branding fit into that. Whereas this is kind of out of left field. Obviously, once again, maybe it's a win because we're talking about it and people are talking about it, obviously.
Yeah.
Some mixed opinions online about it. Overall, like we talked about, we don't know who the Oatly CEO is, so it was kind of out of left field coming into the brand and not necessarily knowing much about him or the brand right away.
Well, and maybe you're changing my mind too a little bit on this, because now we do know who the CEO is.
It's true.
I guess I just watched the commercial and I can't tell you his name, so I don't. I know he was on there. So and then maybe it obviously in a 30-second commercial or a Super Bowl, like you can't like go into deep detail of like why it's better or what the differences are and all those things. So maybe it got the Oatly name out there. Again, I had never heard of Oatly before, so now I do know who Oatly is, and maybe at some point I will do the research and go, hey, maybe I will drink oat milk instead.
Right.
So, but I love my morning fresh that comes to me, delivered to my door.
Another free plug.
Good milk. Yep. So, yes. So let's give that, one of those half and halves.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems agreeable.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Good job to the CEO because, again, put himself out there. Better singer than I am.
There you go.
I don't know about you. You got a decent voice too. So
Decent.
maybe we could reenact it with Beyond Blue.
Now we're talking. I can get on board with that.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Nice job, Oatley.
Yep.
You got us talking.